My mother did not believe in being embarrassed. She only believed in solutions. When she was faced with a delicate situation, she would say, pish posh, and then she would go on to attack the problem at hand. I'll give you an example. June 1978, and I'm alone in the car with my mother, and we are traveling in a car packed with everything a 12-year-old girl could possibly need for a trip to the most magical place on the earth, which was Jewish overnight camp. I was really excited to return to camp. I was also really nervous because this particular summer, it suddenly occurred to me that the boys that I had been friends with since I started to go to this camp at 8 years old were boys. And the prospect of my very first kiss loomed really large. Now, this did eventually happen that summer behind the bunk with Craig Levine in a disastrous clash of braces on braces and metal sparks. Now, these were not the kind of sparks that I had been anticipating for my first kiss. Little digression. So back in the car with my mom, and she knows that I'm nervous, but I'm also excited because I had planned the perfect first day of camp outfit. So let me break it down for you. I had my Dorothy Hamill haircut. I had gold stud earrings in my newly pierced ears. I had a boho purple peasant blouse, which I tied just so, and the piece de resistance, I had white painter pants shorts that I had cut off by myself from longer pants so that the pockets kind of stuck through below where the shorts were. I looked wicked excellent. So I'm in the car, I'm excited about my outfit, but I'm nervous. And my mother, noticing that I was nervous, did what all Jewish mothers do. She offered me something to eat. Now, even though my stomach was doing kind of the flip-flops, I can always eat. So what she offered me was a bag of cherries. And this bag of cherries was they were in a Star Market plastic bag. And I love cherries. And I sat in the front seat and I balanced that bag of cherries right between my knees. And the skin on the cherries was perfect. Unfortunately, my hand-eye coordination, not so much. So I took a few bites of cherry, and lo and behold, I spilled the dirty pits right on the crotch of my white painter's pants. And there, for everyone to see, including those boys that I was heading towards, was a huge red stain. So I screamed, and I said to my mother, "We have got to turn around. I can't possibly go to camp because I am literally dying of embarrassment." Now, I mentioned my mother did not believe in embarrassment. There was no way she was turning that car around. So what did she do? She was a typical Boston driver. So she ran a yellow light. She crossed 2 lanes of traffic without signaling, and she pulled in to the nearest 7-Eleven parking lot. She marched me into the 7-Eleven. She took a can of stain removal spray off the shelf, shook it vigorously, removed the cap, and then she stuck her hand into my pants, pulled the fabric away so I wouldn't burn my privates, and sprayed effectively and efficiently that stain away with a very loud pish posh. Not only did she do this, but she put that can of spray back on the shelf. There was no way that we were going to pay for it because in her estimation, we hadn't used enough. Mortified, she proudly marched me out to the car and we continued our ride to camp. Now, this story is one of the most vivid memories that I have of my mother, because it really encapsulates her unique brand of fierce and wonderful motherly love. It's the real mom in my head and in my heart. And that mom was slowly replaced over time by a version of my mom with Alzheimer's. And that's a very terrible disease with a long goodbye, in our case 5 years, that slowly sapped her of her independence. And I became her healthcare proxy, and I had to take care of her in the same fiercely wonderful way that she cared for me. And I had to get over my embarrassment because there were a lot of situations that were pretty difficult to deal with. Now, eventually, we had to bring in hospice, and she hung on for 10 days after she stopped taking any kind of nourishment. And the nurses were really baffled by this, because that's a really long time. But I wasn't surprised, because I believe that people die the way they live. And she was going to decide when to go. And she decided October 2020, 3 years to the day of tonight. And I'm here with my family celebrating, remembering her yahrzeit. And now I'm the one in charge of the family traditions. I'm the one that gets to embarrass my children. And recently, I was in Stop and Shop. It was after work, and I was shopping for apples for Rosh Hashanah. And I had been working all day, and I was really hungry. And next to the bin of apples, I spied the most fantastic bag of cherries. There was no way I was going to pay for that bag of cherries because I only wanted a few to stave off my hunger. So I rolled up the sleeves of my white linen blouse. I proudly said, "Pish posh," and I stuck my hand with no embarrassment into that bag.